Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're tackling something that, well, it's lived in physics labs for ages, but now it's hitting the real world, practical quantum computing.
Yeah, for years it felt like mostly hype, didn't it?
Totally. But looking through the sources you sent over everything from academic papers to actual company pilot results, it feels like we're moving past just the buzzwords.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's our mission today, really. A proper deep dive into how quantum shifting from, abstract theory to a tool people are actually using.
We want to break down how these machines operating at the atomic level are already starting to make a measurable difference.
Right. And some huge industries too. Pharmaceuticals, global logistics, finance, even material science.
And we want to show you why the big players, Harvard, Google, Moderna, Vanguard, shipping giants, why they're putting serious money into this now, not just tinkering.
We're zeroing in on those specific problems where, honestly, classical computers just hit a wall. But quantum computing, it's kind of uniquely suited to crack them.
And the goal here for you listening is to get you up to speed quickly. You don't need the PhD in quantum physics to get the gist of the impact that's happening right now.
Exactly. We'll keep the concepts clear, focus on real examples, things that are actually working, even while the tech itself is, still growing up.
Okay, let's start at the beginning then. The absolute basics. What makes these quantum machines so different from the computer or phone you're probably listening on?
It really all comes down to the fundamental bit of information. Your phone, your laptop, the server streaming this, they use classical bits.
0 or 1, on or off. Simple switch.
Precisely. It's binary, clear state. But the quantum version, the qubit,
Yeah.
that's where things get weird.
Yeah, the qubit breaks all the familiar rules.
It does. The qubit is the quantum workhorse. And it uses this quantum mechanics principle called superposition.
Okay.
So because it's quantum, it doesn't have to be just 0 or just 1. It can be a combination of both, 0 and 1 at the exact same time.
That's the bit that melts my classical brain every time. Can you give us that analogy again?
Sure. Think of a coin. A classical bit is like a coin flat on a table. It's either heads, that's your 1, or tails, that's your 0. Simple.
Right.
A qubit in superposition, that's the coin spinning in the air. Until it lands, until you actually measure it, it's sort of probabilistically both heads and tails. That ability to be in multiple states at once, that's where the massive computational power starts.
Okay, so superposition gives it this huge potential space to explore, and then there's entanglement. That connects things up.
You got it. Entanglement is the other superpower. It's that thing Einstein called, what was it? Spooky action at a distance.
Right, spooky telepathy.
Yeah, kind of. It means you can link 2 or more qubits, their fates become intertwined, measure one, even if it's miles away, and you instantly know the state of the other one.
Yeah.
Instantly.
Wow. Okay, so you combine being in many states at once, superposition, with linking those states instantly, entanglement.
And you get a machine that doesn't just calculate faster, it calculates differently.
Also.
Well, together, these let quantum computers explore just a vast landscape of possible answers, but in parallel.
Not one after the other, like my laptop does.
Exactly. A classical computer tries things sequentially. The quantum machine can, in a sense, look at millions or billions of possibilities all at the same time. It scales exponentially. A few hundred good entangled qubits could explore more states than atoms in the known universe. It's mind-boggling, really.
But this is where we need that reality check. These aren't replacing the laptop I use for email anytime soon.
Oh, absolutely not. That's key. They're highly specialized tools. They're built for complexity, not necessarily raw speed on simple stuff.
So what kind of problems are they good for?
Think simulating molecules, which are inherently quantum, or tackling massive optimization problems, logistics, finance portfolios, and down the line, breaking certain types of encryption. Anything with that exponential explosion of possibilities.
And right now, as the sources keep saying, we're in what's called the NISQ era.
Yes, NISQ stands for Noisy Intermediate Scale Quantum. Noisy. These current machines, they're powerful, but they're incredibly sensitive. Vibrations, temperature changes, stray magnetic fields. They can all mess up the calculation. They make errors.
So they're not the perfect, flawless machines from sci-fi yet.
Not even close. We're likely years, maybe a decade or more, from truly fault-tolerant quantum computers.
Yeah.
But, and this is the really fascinating part, even these noisy, error-prone prototypes, they're already being used in pilot projects. And they're getting surprising, sometimes commercially valuable results.
Which signals that big shift we're talking about. It's less, can we build one, and more.
Exactly. Now it's, okay, what can these imperfect machines actually do for us right now?
Cool.
What real-world problems can they help solve today?
And one of the first places showing huge potential is medicine, specifically drug discovery and maybe even personalized treatment.
Yeah, this is almost a perfect match for quantum. Drug discovery is just notoriously slow and expensive, billions of dollars, often 10 years or more.
And the core problem is computational, isn't it? Finding the right molecule means searching through this astronomical number of possibilities.
Mind-blowing numbers, truly. And the reason even giant supercomputers struggle is physics. At the end of the day, a molecule is a quantum system. Its electrons, its atoms, they obey quantum rules.
Which classical computers can only approximate.
Exactly. They use estimations, things like Schrödinger's equation or density functional theory, but they have to simplify how electrons behave, because simulating it precisely is just computationally impossible for complex molecules.
But a quantum computer.
A quantum computer can, in theory, simulate those quantum interactions directly, especially the really complex electron behavior, with much higher accuracy, much higher fidelity than classical methods can ever achieve.
Okay, so moving from approximations to more accurate modeling, what does that unlock specifically?
Well, it makes simulating things like protein folding, how a protein gets its shape, which determines its function, or how an enzyme works, or how a potential drug molecule actually binds to its target in the body. It makes those simulations computationally feasible.
So instead of months or years in a wet lab trying out chemicals,
You can simulate it much faster. It dramatically speeds up finding those initial promising candidates, the hits and leads in pharma jargon. That means potentially fewer failed drug trials, lower R&D costs, huge implications.
and it goes beyond just finding the drug, right? The sources talked about personalized medicine.
That's the next frontier, yeah. Quantum chemistry could let researchers model how a drug interacts with, say, thousands of different patient genetic profiles at the same time.
Moving away from the one-size-fits-all approach.
Towards treatments optimized for your specific biology, we're already seeing hints of this. Penn State researchers, for instance, are using quantum machine learning to analyze clinical trial data, looking for subtle patterns in how different people respond that classical methods might miss.
And this isn't just theory. Big Pharma is already playing.
Oh yeah. AstraZeneca, Merck, Moderna, they're all running pilots. Google's teamed up with Boehringer Ingelheim and IonQ, specifically targeting these complex computational chemistry problems.
And the Cleveland Clinic even has the world's first quantum computer dedicated just to healthcare, working with IBM. That's a serious commitment.
It really is. It shows the perceived value. But let's keep that reality check front and center.
Right, the limitations.
The sources are clear. Most of the really impressive simulation results right now, they involve relatively small molecules, simulating a big, complex protein with thousands of atoms that still needs better error correction than we currently have in this NISQ era.
Okay, so if simulating the really big, important molecules is still tough, how are companies like Merck or Moderna getting value now?
That brings us back to the hybrid approach. It's clever. You don't make the noisy quantum machine do everything.
You combine strength.
Exactly. You let the classical supercomputer handle the bulk of the work, the data processing, the less complex parts. Then you identify the single hardest, most computationally demanding piece, maybe simulating the exact quantum interactions at the drug's binding site, and you offload just that specific bottleneck to the quantum processor.
So it's targeted quantum power-ups, not a full replacement.
Precisely. It's quantum-enhanced classical computing. And that hybrid model is where the real action is today.
So the message for anyone in R&D or biotech seems clear. The next big breakthroughs might come from this hybrid process, shaving years off development.
It really could be a game changer for bringing new therapies to patients faster.
That complexity modeling is fascinating. Okay, let's shift gears. From the tiny world of molecules to the huge scale of, well, moving stuff around.
Yeah.
Logistics and supply chains.
Right. Logistics is maybe the ultimate optimization puzzle. Think about it. Coordinating routes, warehouses, inventory, timing, trucks, ships, planes across the globe. Millions of variables.
And classical computers just choke on that level of complexity eventually.
They hit a wall. The number of possible combinations just explodes. They become computationally intractable.
The classic example always cited is the traveling salesman problem, right? Finding the shortest route connecting multiple cities.
Yeah, even with just a few dozen cities, finding the absolute best route is basically impossible for a classical computer in a reasonable time. They have to use heuristics, approximations,
Which means maybe not the best route. And that costs money.
a fortune. Wasted fuel, wasted driver time, holding too much inventory in the wrong place, higher emissions. It all adds up. This is why quantum computers seem almost purpose-built for optimization.
How did they tackle something like the traveling system differently?
Well, instead of checking routes one by one, or using those approximations, the quantum computer, using superposition and entanglement, can effectively evaluate a vast number of potential routes simultaneously. It finds the lowest energy state, which translates to the most efficient path.
And companies are already testing this out. IBM, VW, DHL.
Yes, the pilot programs are showing some really promising results. These aren't just theoretical gains.
What kind of results are we talking about?
Take IBM's work in New York City. They used a hybrid quantum classical system. Remember that hybrid approach?
Yeah.
They optimized around 1,200 parcel deliveries. But it wasn't just distance. They factored in real-world stuff. Tight delivery windows, different truck capacities, even traffic predictions. The result, measurable cuts in delivery times and overall costs.
And Volkswagen in Lisbon.
They applied a quantum pilot to optimize bus routes and scheduling. They reported a 30% improvement in efficiency. 30%.
Yeah.
For public transport, that's huge.
Wow. And DHL, their numbers were pretty striking too.
Yeah, DHL reported using quantum-inspired algorithms, we should talk about that term, and saw a 12% cut in fuel consumption and an 18% improvement in delivery time.
Okay, quantum inspired.
Yeah.
Let's unpack that. Does that mean they used an actual quantum computer or?
That's a really important distinction. Often, especially with these big commercial results like DHL's early ones, they're using quantum-inspired algorithms. These run on classical computers, powerful ones, but they mimic the logic and structure of how a quantum algorithm would approach the problem.
So it's using the quantum thinking even without the quantum hardware.
Exactly. It shows that conceptual power is valuable even now. But the true quantum computers become necessary when a problem gets so complex with so many interacting variables that even the best classical approximation isn't good enough. And that happens quickly when you start adding things like supply chain resilience.
Right, moving beyond just the optimal route for today to handling disruptions.
That's the strategic edge. Quantum isn't just about finding the best plan A. It excels at running thousands of what-if scenarios in parallel.
Like, what if a major port shuts down suddenly, or a pandemic causes a massive spike in demand?
Precisely. Or a hurricane disrupts shipping lanes. A quantum system could potentially simulate these disruptions in near real time and instantly recommend the best way to reroute shipments or reallocate inventory across the entire network. It helps absorb shocks before they cripple the business.
That ability to manage risk must be incredibly valuable for companies like Denso or ExxonMobil with their super complex global operations.
Absolutely critical. And it's not just the global scale. Even inside the warehouse, quantum optimization is showing promise.
How so?
Things like figuring out the absolute best layout for storing items, optimizing how cargo is loaded onto planes for weight balance and efficiency, or finding the most efficient pick-pack-ship routes within a giant distribution center. Quantum approaches are starting to outperform traditional methods here too.
So it seems like quantum is shifting from a nice-to-have to potentially a must-have for staying competitive and resilient in global logistics.
I think that's right. It's becoming key to navigating an increasingly unpredictable world economy.
Okay, let's take that theme of complexity and risk and shift from shipping lanes to Wall Street. Finance.
Yes, finance. Where the problems get very big, very fast, and the computational demands are just enormous.
What kind of problems are we talking about?
Think about analyzing risk across thousands of assets simultaneously, or optimizing massive investment portfolios with incredibly complex rules and constraints, pricing exotic financial derivatives. It pushes even the biggest classical servers to their limits.
Portfolio optimization, for example. The standard approach, the Markowitz model, works, but it struggles with scale and real-world complexity, right?
It does. It gets computationally bogged down very quickly when you add lots of assets and realistic constraints. Quantum offers a completely different way to tackle this instead of just approximating the best mix of assets.
It can find the true optimal.
In theory, yes. It can explore the entire possibility space more effectively. There was a big study, I think around 2025, involving IBM and Vanguard.
Vanguard, the huge investment firm, what did they find?
They used those hybrid quantum classical methods again. They focused on building large, complex bond portfolios, a really practical challenge. The results were significant. The quantum-enhanced approaches either matched or, in some key cases, actually outperformed the traditional algorithms.
How did they do that?
They use something called variational quantum algorithms. Think of them as tools that can explore these incredibly vast solution landscapes to find combinations of assets bonds, in this case, that offer potentially better returns or lower risk than classical methods might find, simply because the classical methods can't search everywhere in time.
Even a small edge in finance can mean billions, so outperforming traditional methods is a huge deal.
Absolutely massive. And beyond just optimizing the portfolio itself, there's the speed factor, especially for Monte Carlo simulations.
Monte Carlo. That's used everywhere in finance for risk modeling, right? Simulating thousands of possible futures.
Exactly. It's fundamental for pricing complex options, calculating how much capital banks need to hold, stress testing portfolios against market crashes. But they are incredibly time-consuming on classical machines.
Can take days sometimes.
Often days, yeah, for really complex models. Quantum algorithms, specifically things like quantum amplitude estimation, could theoretically run these simulations quadratically faster.
Quadratically, so much faster.
Think potentially turning a 2-day calculation into minutes. That would allow for almost real-time, super granular risk analysis and derivative pricing. It would fundamentally change how fast markets can react and how finely they can price risk.
And what about security? Fraud detection.
Another area where quantum AI or quantum-enhanced machine learning could shine, it's about pattern recognition.
Finding the needle in the haystack of transactions.
Exactly. Spotting complex, subtle patterns across billions of transactions in real time. And crucially, because quantum can explore so many possibilities at once, it might be able to adapt much faster to new, never-before-seen fraud techniques. That's a big challenge for current AI.
But speaking of security, there's that huge shadow hanging over everything. The threat quantum poses to current encryption.
Yes, the existential threat. This is the really big one. Our entire digital world, banking, secure communications, government secrets, everything relies on encryption like RSA.
Which works because factoring huge numbers is incredibly hard for classical computers.
Right, but there's an algorithm, Shor's algorithm, designed for a quantum computer. And if you had a big enough, stable enough quantum computer, a fault-tolerant one, Shor's algorithm could, in theory, break RSA and similar encryption methods almost trivially.
So the security underpinning global finance, e-commerce, everything could just evaporate.
Potentially, yes. Once a capable quantum computer exists, we don't know exactly when that will be, but the threat is real enough that people are acting now.
What's the response?
It's a global race to develop and deploy post-quantum cryptography, or PQC. These are new encryption methods designed from the ground up to be resistant to attacks from both classical and quantum computers.
So building quantum-proof locks before the quantum key exists.
Precisely. Organizations like the Bank for International Settlements, central banks, they've launched major initiatives like Project LEAP to test these new PQC standards and figure out how to migrate the entire global financial system onto them. It's a massive undertaking.
Wow. So quantum is both this incredible tool for financial gain and this ticking time bomb for security. Okay, let's pivot from the abstract world of finance to the physical world. Materials science.
Right, and this is another area where quantum feels incredibly natural, because material science, at its heart, is quantum mechanics.
How so?
Well, if you want to understand why a material behaves the way it does, why a metal conducts electricity, why a plastic is flexible, why a catalyst speeds up a reaction, you need to understand how its electrons and atoms interact at the quantum level.
Yeah, and again, classical computers struggle with that complexity.
They do. Simulating the quantum behavior of anything more than the simplest molecules gets exponentially harder. They rely on approximations, which limits our ability to discover truly novel materials with design properties.
But quantum computers can simulate quantum systems directly. They think like nature does.
That's the idea. They can model those fundamental quantum interactions with a much higher fidelity, and the payoff could be revolutionary materials.
Like what? What's the promise here?
Think better batteries for electric cars, ones that charge faster, last longer, are safer. More efficient catalysts to produce things like green hydrogen or ammonia for fertilizers using less energy. Maybe even designing strong, lightweight, but fully biodegradable plastics.
Cutting down that long, expensive trial and error process in the lab.
Exactly. Quantum simulation could dramatically shorten the discovery cycle, potentially taking years or decades off the time it takes to bring a new material from concept to market.
Is there a specific quantum technique that's driving this?
One of the key algorithms getting a lot of attention is the variational quantum eigensolver, or VQE.
VQE. Okay, sounds technical. Can you break that down conceptually?
Let's try. Think of it like this. Finding the most stable configuration of a molecule, its lowest energy state, or ground state, tells you a lot about its properties. Calculating that directly is super hard.
Right.
VQE is a hybrid approach. The classical computer makes educated guesses, suggesting small tweaks to the molecule's parameters. The quantum computer then very efficiently calculates the energy for that specific tweak using its quantum advantage.
So the classical computer guides the search, and the quantum computer does the hard physics calculation quickly.
Pretty much. It's like tuning a system. The classical part proposes adjustments, the quantum part measures the result, and they work together, iterating back and forth until they zero in on that lowest energy state.
And that gives you a really accurate picture of the molecule's electronic structure.
Unprecedented accuracy, potentially. And knowing that electronic structure is the key to predicting how the material will actually behave. It's conductivity, reactivity, strength, everything.
We're already seeing this applied to batteries, which is huge for EVs and renewable energy storage.
Absolutely. Researchers have used quantum machines to accurately map the electronic states of molecules relevant to battery chemistry. This is a vital step toward designing better electrolytes, better electrodes, maybe even getting us closer to solid-state batteries or room-temperature superconductors one day. Companies like Inflection, Johnson Matthey, VW, Riverlane, they're all active here.
And it's not just traditional materials, but biomaterials too.
Yes. Some quantum approaches, like quantum annealing used by companies like D-Wave, are particularly good at optimization problems. This includes figuring out how complex protein chains fold up or how DNA sequences might arrange themselves.
Which could lead to designing new proteins for medicines or enzymes to clean up pollution.
Exactly. Designing biomaterials with specific functions for medicine, or maybe enzymes that can break down microplastics more effectively. The potential is enormous.
And again, it often comes back to that partnership between human knowledge and the machine.
Right. That Cornell ME AI model is a great example. It combined the intuition of material scientists with the power of quantum-enhanced AI to speed up the discovery of completely new types of quantum material stuff with really exotic properties that could lead to new technologies we can barely imagine yet.
It really feels like every major tech advance relies on new materials. Quantum simulation looks like a powerful shortcut to finding them.
It cuts down the guesswork, accelerates discovery. It's potentially a massive competitive advantage.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground drugs, logistics, finance, materials. As we wrap up this deep dive, let's bring it all together with that crucial quantum reality check. Where do things really stand today?
We have to keep hammering this home.
Yeah.
We are still firmly in the NISQ era, noisy, intermediate scale. These machines are powerful prototypes, but they make errors. The dream of the perfectly fault-tolerant quantum computer, still years away. Maybe a decade, maybe more.
But, and this is the important but,
the practical hybrid applications where you combine classical and quantum are emerging much faster than many expected. We're seeing real measurable value being generated now, even with these imperfect machines.
So we shouldn't dismiss the current state just because it's noisy. The results like DHL's fuel savings or Vanguard's portfolio performance or the accelerated molecule screening, those are tangible.
Absolutely. If you're looking at quantum today, the focus shouldn't be on ripping out your existing servers. It should be on identifying those problems that are just completely intractable for your classical computers.
The needle in a haystack simulations, the optimization problems that are just too big, designing that breakthrough material.
Exactly. For your day-to-day stuff, running databases, standard business applications, classical computers are still king, and they will be for a long time.
And the consistent theme across all the sources, all the examples, is that hybrid approach.
It really is the key takeaway for the near future. The biggest impact comes from combining the strengths of both. Classical handles the both data, controls the process, manages errors where it can. Quantum tackles that one specific, incredibly hard computational step that unlocks the whole problem. Best of both worlds.
So for you listening, whether you're a student, a developer, a business leader, just curious, what are the concrete steps you can take to engage with this now?
Okay, first, learn the basics. You don't need to be a physicist. Understand superposition, entanglement, qubits conceptually. There are fantastic free resources out there. IBM's Qiskit platform, Microsoft quantum documentation, courses on Coursera or edX, even great YouTube channels like Kurzgesagt. Start there.
Second, get your hands dirty. Tinker, experiment. You can actually access real quantum computers and simulators through the cloud.
Right. IBM Quantum Experience, Google Quantum AI, Microsoft Azure Quantum, Amazon Bracket. They let you run simple quantum circuits, play around with algorithms. That hands-on feel is invaluable. Follow the leaders. Keep an eye on the hardware companies, D-Wave, IonQ, Quantinuum, Rigetti, others, and the research labs at places like Harvard, MIT, Waterloo. Breakthroughs are happening constantly. See who's applying it.
And fourth, maybe the biggest opportunity right now.
Look at the talent gap. There is huge shortage of people who understand both a specific domain like chemistry or finance and how to frame problems for a quantum computer. It's not just about quantum physicists, it's about quantum literate engineers, chemists, data scientists, business analysts. That's a golden opportunity.
And for businesses listening, what's the advice?
Don't wait for the perfect machine. Start thinking now. Create a basic quantum roadmap. Identify those critical bottlenecks in your operations where classical computing struggles. Begin small pilot projects, maybe using those cloud platforms. And start investing in training your people or hiring talent with quantum skills. It's about building future competitive advantage starting today.
So wrapping it all up, quantum isn't just theory anymore. It's actively accelerating drug discovery, like we see with Moderna and Merck. It's making logistics way more efficient. Remember DHL's 12% fuel cut. It's changing how risk and return are calculated in finance, per that Vanguard study. And it's inventing the materials that will build our future. The shift is happening.
And maybe the final thought to leave you with is this. Yes, we're all excited about the potential of future fault-tolerant machines, but the most significant opportunity right now might not be replacing your servers. It's using these current, noisy hybrid systems to start chipping away at problems we previously thought were just fundamentally unsolvable, mathematically impossible for classical machines.
You literally have the tools available today, often for free in the cloud, to start learning and maybe even contributing to that next big leap. It's a fundamental shift in technology. Don't let it pass you by.
Absolutely. Stay curious, keep learning. Thanks for diving deep with us.
1